So Quinn is here because I want you to ask Quinn something about what he does or about the book. So if you want to
Good. I just want to.
I'm sure when,
Oh, do you need a card?
Oh, I have one. I was trying to figure out if that was the Instagram, do the math, or
high school and kids to take care of that stuff.
one day I'll.
Pauly,
Yeah, this morning, Pauley Elementary.
and then where else did you go?
So we stayed there, did a bunch of shots, and then KGZZ was there. And so I did
Everything working. Hey,
did
somebody
an interview
talking.
with them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, met up with Adam, and
They're gonna need a mic check from you, so just
Okay.
keep on talking and stuff, so.
yeah, met with Adam. Then I went over to Idea Hive and tried
Okay.
to set up there.
Now, where is that?
It's on 1910 and 19th Street. That's the address, 1910, 19th
Okay,
Street.
so it's right down the road.
Yeah, it
So that's
wasn't
why
far.
It is an easy thing.
Set it up, let the music guy in, and so we'll keep it
Five,
short.
four,
It's only an hour and a half.
3, 2,
Food,
1.
move down a little bit to give Quinn room to come in here. Quinn and I are gonna chat about the book. You're gonna ask him that question at the end, all right? And then we'll move on from there, all right? But for now, come in here because you can read that. So read that one
Hello,
more time
how are
while we have
you?
a couple minutes.
From math homework help call.
Thank you.
636.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
I'm April.
And in studio with us, we have Gonzalo. And Gonzalo, if somebody wanted to get a hold of us, what would they need to do?
For math homework help, call in Bakersfield 636-4357. Toll free 1-866-636-6284. Email dothemath@kern.org. We're online at dothemathonline.net and on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right. A lot of different ways to get a hold of us here at Do the Math, aren't there?
Yes.
You do all of those social media things? You do any of them?
No.
No? Neither do I. I suck for Do the Math stuff, right? Anyway, why don't you let everybody know where you go to school and what grade you're in?
I go to Whitley Elementary and I'm in 6th grade.
Now, Whitley is a relatively new school. How long have you been there?
2 years.
So you've been there 3 years. So you're pretty comfortable with it?
Yes.
Now, I understand that we had to postpone you coming on Do the Math because there was an opportunity for you to go to Camp Keep, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
You went to Camp Keep?
Yes.
How was Camp Keep? What was the best thing? Like somebody says, what's the one best thing about Camp Keep? What would you tell them?
The food.
So you like the food?
Yeah.
All right. What was so great about the food?
I don't know.
It was just
It was
good
just
food?
good.
So it was good, you liked it, you ate it all, and it was good.
Yes.
All right. Other than the food, what would be the next best thing about Camp Keep?
Rolling down sand dunes.
Okay, so you like that one, because you guys go on a lot of different hikes and
Yes.
walks and things like that. And it's amazing that I would say 99% of the kids that come in here that have gone to Camp Keep, they always say the best thing about Camp Keep is the food. So those guys know what they're doing over there, over at Camp Keep. Now, you ready to do a little math? That's why you're here today.
Yes.
All right, over to the board. So here's one of the problems that you had for homework. So April's going to go ahead and write it, and then you're going to solve it, explain it, and then April's there if you need some help. So first one, we have 8x plus 3y is equal to -9. Our next equation is 6x is equal to -18. So solve for x and for y. Gonzalo, it's all yours.
There you go. You can use the red pen. So this is a systems of equation, and you're going to solve for x first in the second equation. Can you tell me what you're doing and why you're doing it?
I'm dividing by 6 to get the x by itself, and you have to do it to the other side.
Okay, so you're going to isolate x, and since we're multiplying here, you're going to divide. And to keep the equation balanced, you're going to do it to both sides.
Yes.
You're going to divide on both sides.
And,
And
it
18 divided by 6 is?
3, but there's a negative, so it's -3.
Okay, so I've got a negative divided by a positive, so it's -3. So what do you think we should do with this -3? That's the value of x. What should we do with
Put
it?
it back up into the bigger equation.
So we're going to use this first equation, and then we're going to substitute this value of x where it says x here.
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead and write. So I have 8 times x, which is -3. Why is it important to keep that negative there?
Because if you have a positive, it changes the whole equation.
You'll change the whole equation if you use a different number. Very good. Plus 3 times y equals -9. Now what are you going to do?
I have to multiply 8 and -3.
8 and -3 is?
Times that is -24.
Okay. And then you just rewrite.
3
You're fine. 3y equals
-9.
what next?
Then I have to add these two. No, I have to,
How come you can't, you said no. How come you can't add those two?
because this has a variable.
Yeah, and
So-
the first term doesn't have a variable and the second term does. So instead, what are we going to do?
We have to move this to the other side.
And we do that
by
with?
adding the same number as this to both sides.
Okay, so we're going to use the inverse. This is -24. We're going to use +24 and add. Keep our equation balanced to both sides.
So 3y
And 3y
equals
-9 plus 24 is?
it's 15.
15?
Yes.
Okay.
And now we have to isolate the y, so we have to multiply by 3.
We're going to isolate the y. So since this is multiplication, we are going to
Divide.
by 3.
3. And then y
That's 3 times y.
equals
And 15 divided by 3 is? And so this is a system of equation, and the answer is usually written in what format? Do we just leave it like that, or do
no.
we write it in a special format?
yes, we write -3.
You can use the eraser. So we're going to write it as an ordered pair because it's two lines that intersect on a graph,
Yes.
and their intersection is a point, which is an ordered pair, and in this case, -3, 5 is the solution.
There you go. Nicely done. Great first problem right there. Hey, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30, as we do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. Phone numbers are at the bottom of the screen periodically throughout the program. Thank you to Gonzalo working out that great problem right there. Time now for today's Math in the News.
This way, sweetie.
All right, today's Math in the News. We are fortunate enough to have somebody in studio with us. This is Quinn Woodard. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Nice to see you again. It's been a while.
It has,
Do you
definitely.
remember the last time that we were together with,
I'm thinking 3 years ago.
okay. well,
Possibly.
yeah.
No beard. No beard at that time.
No?
Yeah.
Well, the same amount of hair on here. So anyway, you're here because the last time you were with Chevron, and you're still with
I'm
Chevron,
still with
but
Chevron.
that's not why you're here.
That's correct.
Okay? You have authored a book.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, so the book is called Like Me. I was inspired to write the book because my goal is to inspire young students as early as possible to STEM fields and STEM careers.
So what made you think, like, all right, I know I can help kids, I want to help kids, and what brought upon the idea of, let me write a book?
Yeah, so often in my spare time, I don't mind going to schools and speaking at different events, but I know that my time is limited. I know that media and utilizing literature is an easy way to get into the hand of multiple children and allow them to see the various fields of STEM.
So how long did this process take you? So you got the idea in your head until today you're releasing the book. You actually have a party going on tonight, right, for the release?
That's correct, the party is tonight.
So what kind of time are we talking?
Yeah, so the idea actually came about 4 years ago. So I had just finished speaking at the Project Lead the Way National Summit, exited the stage, engaged with some teachers and some students, and I thought to myself, there's still some opportunities, still more work to be done. I sent myself an email, wrote some notes, and then the book just kind of sat on the shelves. It wasn't until last year I finished my series of pages, illustration notes, and then I sent it off as a query to a publisher. It was accepted, and it took about a year to get the actual book published.
Now, the finished product you have here, did you have to add to it, subtract from it?
Definitely.
What you had before until you got to this?
Exactly. So you start out with a basic manuscript, and then at that point, it's just a text file. From there, I added my illustrator notes, and then you do test sketches with different illustrators until you find the right one that aligns with your vision. And I was assigned an editor, so that made the process a little easier to transition from start to finish.
Now, I know that there are different awards. I think one is a Newbery Award, I think, for kids' books and things like that.
Definitely.
So, this going to be entered in any of those, you think?
Yeah, so I did have the opportunity to submit for some of those awards. You talked about the Newbery, obviously a Coretta Scott King Award, submissions there. And then you send it out for queries for various reviews. Kirkus is a big one as well that does reviews and publishes that. And there's always opportunities for individuals to leave reviews, whether that's on Amazon, my website directly, or any other avenue that may carry the book.
Now, are you looking forward to expanding, like maybe another one in the series or a different kind of book? Or is this, you know what, I've done it, I feel good about it, and we're going to let it rest?
You know, so I've gotten a little feedback, and so I think there's always opportunity for improvement. The main character in the book is Zoe, and that's based off of my niece, who's 8 years old. You know, there may be an opportunity to pivot to a young boy. She has a little brother named Zeke.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, is this like modeled after anybody, or was somebody in your head while you were doing it?
Exactly, and if you look through the book, there's various elements of my life. So I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and so you'll see a parabola in the book, but it's actually the St. Louis Arch.
Right.
And so I put in various elements, such as I mentioned my nephew. I have Zeke's big adventures scattered throughout the book, and so you just have to look closely to find those little nuggets.
Okay. Now, this is Do the Math, and you have been here for things like that before. What kinds of things do you remember or that you apply still in what you do with Chevron?
Yeah, so a lot of the things we do now are Excel-based or BI-based, business intelligence. So you're utilizing softwares, packages such as Power BI or Spotfire. And so they do a lot of the calculations for you. Being that my background is in electrical engineering, I utilize the Pythagorean theorem or the right triangle quite a bit to calculate various power, whether it's single phase or three phase in my job.
Gonzalo, you had an opportunity to look through the book a little bit when Quinn brought it out. Do you have any questions for Quinn?
Why are most of the jobs scientists?
So yeah, that's a good question. So As you progress through the book, you learn about the various careers, and then at the end, it was what I think you're referencing. There's a series of pictures and photos, and I call them pioneers. And so there's not just scientists; you have mathematicians. There's astronauts in there, and astronauts can have various backgrounds. In fact, Mae Jemison, she was a doctor, a chemical engineer, and an astronaut. So it's kind of a diverse set of individuals in the book.
Now, the party you've got going on for your release, is that open to the public or is that a private event?
Right now, it is private. So I sent out the RSVP through various avenues, individuals that I knew in town and relationships I had built through a press release. And so it is capped at this point. We're at capacity. It's at the Idea Hive tonight at 6 o'clock. And it'll be a great gathering, opportunity to mingle with individuals that I haven't seen in quite some time. As you know, I'm coming from Houston, Texas. That's where I reside now. And so just looking to connect with the community more and talk about the book.
Good. I was going to, because somebody might be like, hey, you know what? I want to check out the book. I want to purchase the book. I want to look at the book. Where can they go?
Yeah, so the book is available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and Books A Million. You can also get it on my site, likemebook.com.
All right. Well, you know what? We certainly do appreciate you taking out some time, coming and sharing the Like Me book with us, a math and science book,
Definitely.
everything
STEM.
in there together. So we certainly do appreciate you taking out that time for us.
Thank
We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon. That is today's Math in the News. And we're going to go out and about. A lot of things you can learn in the kitchen.
Everybody's favorite part of the show, math in the real world. Where do we use these numbers? We are here today at the kitchen. Not your kitchen, not my kitchen, the kitchen. And Richard Yoshimura has joined us today. Richard, thanks for your time, man.
Thanks for coming.
Tell us where we are and what goes on at this place.
So we are the kitchen,
The kitchen.
and basically we teach people how to cook, but in a very recreational manner.
Okay.
It's a very casual environment where people will learn to prepare a 3-course meal, and within 3 hours.
Right. Wow.
And this is a way we also like to be community oriented, so people can come here, meet other people. Also, we do a lot of private events for larger businesses where they come here and they do team building and such. And it's a way to do it in a non-threatening and a non-intimidating environment, and because cooking can be daunting.
Very much so. So when I think of a 3-course meal, I'm thinking like Pop-Tarts and cereal and maybe some juice at the end, right? But so this is really about the process. Maybe obviously about the end result, right? But about the
Yes.
process of cooking and knowing what that's all about and what goes into a meal, right?
The process is generally more important than the end result.
Okay.
Technique, a basic understanding of how to use a knife, how to deal with fire. These are very primal elements, but which is probably what people can be intimidated by. But in here we try to demystify cooking and to make it approachable.
Right, right. Okay, so what do you think is the biggest hesitation for someone, maybe even like myself, that I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to cook. That kind of throws me off. What do you say to someone like that? That hey, cooking, everyone can cook, right? What are the things that you encourage them with to say yes, you can do it?
I think one of the things that oftentimes people find daunting of the process of cooking is the cleanup.
Oh, okay. Right.
Once you have in your mindset to clean as you go, then you don't end up with this mountain of mess at the end of your day, and say it didn't come out the way you wanted it to come out. Like, so that's a lose-lose. Like, oh my goodness, now I have this gigantic mess.
Right. Something that doesn't taste good
and the
and a
dish
mess.
didn't come out right. The key oftentimes is it is repetition. It is practice, and it is enjoying what you are preparing. Find something a cuisine that you like, and then just read upon it and just start with the recipes and follow it to a T at the beginning. And as time goes on, then through that repetition, you start to understand how ingredients interact with each other.
Right.
And what makes it delicious.
Okay.
Is it the seasoning? Is it the ingredients, the combination of ingredients? Sometimes some ingredients just don't work well with others. That's why you don't see broccoli and chocolate together. That just doesn't
That's
quite
fair.
work.
There you go. Okay. So do you encourage your students or people that you teach, maybe not encourage, but you let them know it's okay to make mistakes? It's,
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
Gonna give you some experience, right?
Failure is my best friend. I fail a lot.
Okay.
But through that failure comes experience, and through that experience, you'll yield a better result.
Right.
So
and
it's
we
just-
say that to our math students at the same time, right?
Yes.
We always let them know you don't have to be a perfectionist. You don't have to know
Yeah.
all the stuff that we have going on here because that's why we're here to learn. So how did you get involved in this? I mean, you obviously have a passion, I can tell, for cooking. How did you get involved in something like this where you're teaching others to cook?
I think it's important in this day and age. We live now a much more fast-paced lifestyle. Things we get pulled away, and you don't have to cook every day at home, but at least to have some basic cooking skills, it also helps to bring families together. It's also economical
Right.
and a lot more healthy. Because you then can control your sodium intake, your fat intake, your carb intake, and so
Know
you
what's in your food, and as fast as we can get food nowadays, it certainly is convenient, but you don't always know what's in
you don't
there.
always know what's in there.
Right.
And so that's why I also like to explain something as simple as a salad dressing, as a vinaigrette. For my recipe, it only consists of 5 ingredients. If you look at a recipe, if you look at the ingredient label of a basic vinaigrette at the store, it's really long and fine print with a lot of unpronounceable ingredients. I think we can all pronounce oil, vinegar, shallot,
Right.
mustard.
Right. And we
salt,
actually
pepper.
know what those things
Oh,
are,
yes,
too.
and
Yeah.
basic pantry items.
Yeah, good deal. All right, we want to learn a lot more, and maybe even more the math kicks in here. We know, what an amazing place. I'm so excited to see how we can actually do some cooking here maybe and see what kind of tools are used here. We also know that there is some important math to do back in the studio, so we will head there and be back soon.
All right, as always, some important math to do here in the studio. Do you do a lot of cooking at your house? Do you help out with it at all?
Yeah, sometimes.
And sometimes help out with it? Well, you know what? Richard down there at the kitchen kind of teach you guys a little bit of stuff, so you can watch a little bit about that later on, all right?
Okay.
Right now, you have to do more math. You ready?
Okay.
All right, let's head on back over to the board. We'll do another problem just like the one you did, but this one with a little twist to it. 3x plus y is equal to negative 21. X plus y is equal to negative 5. So once again, solve for x and y and put as an ordered pair when finished.
Alrighty, so this is different. You know the key for the pen not to run? You have to stop the pen. I just learned that right now. Thought I'd share that with you.
Okay.
So what are we going to do? So this is another system of equations. It's 2 equations with 2 variables. That makes it a system. So how should we solve this one since I can't just divide first? So what should I do?
So we actually have to get one of the variables to, we have to get one of the variables alone.
So we have to get one of the variables alone.
Yes.
So what are you deciding?
So we have to multiply this whole top equation by -1.
Okay, so why are we multiplying the top equation by -1? Because we want to isolate a variable. So this is a 3x and an x, and this is a y and a y, and both of these y's are positive.
Yes.
And so we need to cancel one of the y's out, so we got to use the inverse.
Yes.
So multiply the whole equation by -1.
And then,
That's not -1.
yes, it is.
Oh,
because that
okay.
was an imaginary.
It's imaginary. Or it's invisible, I
This
guess.
isn't-
Appears and disappears. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to take the opposite of the entire first equation.
And it becomes 3
So
3x
opposite of 3x is negative 3x
y
minus y equals,
positive 21.
and the opposite of negative 21 is the positive
Positive,
21.
yes.
Okay, and the idea of doing that is because we need to cancel out a variable. Go ahead.
So then this will become -2.
So where are you getting the negative 2x? What are you doing?
Because x is positive, it's +1, and +1 plus negative,
So you're adding straight down?
yes.
Okay, so we're adding straight down.
And then these cancel out, so then 2x equals positive 20.
So our y's are going to cancel. 1 minus 1 is nothing. And then negative 5, negative 5 plus 21 is... Perfect.
So then that's positive 16.
16.
Okay.
Okay, so
so
that's
then
positive 16,
we
and
have
now I have
to
negative 2x
isolate the
equals
x.
16, and I have to isolate the x as negative 2 times x. So I isolate the x by the opposite, inverse operation. So I'm going to divide by negative 2.
You have to divide by negative 2.
Keep your equation balanced. Do the same thing on both sides of the equal sign.
X equals negative because the negative times the positive is negative.
Okay, and same thing in division if I divide.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
And I get 8. So then we have to write it back on the
So
top
16 divided by negative 2 is negative 8, and I'm going to take this negative 8 and plug it in where?
ordered pair. Or the first part of an ordered pair. Oh, no.
It is the first part of our
yes.
ordered pair, yeah. And so you
Well,
can
we
write
have
that
to
if you
put it- okay.
want to. So that's the first part of our ordered pair. But what do I do with this negative 8?
We
Where
have
am I
put
going
it
to
back
substitute
up
it?
in the top
Okay.
equation.
Can I put it in this equation?
Yes.
So either I can plug the negative 8 here,
Yes.
or I can plug the negative 8 here. Where would you like to plug it? In the first equation?
Yes.
Okay. Can you fit it over there?
Yes.
So
That's pretty, I would say I'd just do the second one, it's a little easier, but by all means, let's do the first one.
do what you do. But I was thinking the same thing. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Is that good for you?
Yes.
You have some space?
So 3 times 8 plus y.
So the value of x is negative 8. We're substituting there. And 3 times negative 8 plus y equals negative 21.
And now from order of operations, we have to multiply.
Okay.
So then this is negative 24.
And 3
Plus
times negative 8 is negative 24 plus y.
equals negative 21.
Great.
Now we have to isolate the y again. So we have to use the inverse operation.
There you go.
Which is addition. 4. And we have to keep it balanced, so you do to the other side.
I love it.
Y equals 24. That's
And negative 21 plus 24 is,
positive 3.
and what am I going to do with that positive 3? It's going to
Put it
be
up here and
the y value in my ordered pair. And negative 8, 3 is the solution to the system. So if I plug that value in to either of these equations, it should be true, correct?
yes.
All right.
There you
Thank
go, nicely done, once again. For your great effort right there, you've got a couple of tickets to go see the Bakersfield Condors, a little ice hockey here in town. So the season is under full swing. Have you ever been to a Condors hockey game?
No.
Oh, this is excellent. You're going to have a lot of fun when you go see the Condors. So hopefully you get an opportunity to go pretty soon, and then let us know about it, all right?
I saw in the news that it was like youth jersey.
Youth Jersey Night.
It's coming up pretty soon,
So I
so
think
maybe
it's
we'll make it to that one.
actually this Friday night, I think. So if you go, you get a youth jersey for free by going to see the Condors.
There
And
you
you've
go.
got free tickets to go.
Now you have
All right, nicely done.
couple things.
Hey, we have phone tutors available until 5:30. We'll be back with more right after this. Today we're at Highland Elementary, home of the Hawks, and we're here to We have the 4th and 5th grade students at Highland Elementary working on a little bit of geometry. You guys enjoying everything so far? Yep. All right, now you're going to compare and contrast two different solids. So, when you compare things, what are you doing? Seeing how they're alike, similar. When you contrast something, what are you doing?
You're finding how they're different.
How they're different, okay? So, each of you in a pair is going to get two solids. And what you're going to do is you're going to compare and contrast anything that you find with the solids, okay? So you have a rectangular prism and a cylinder, all right? So both of you guys go, you can make notes on the back of the paper, compare, contrast what you've got. You also have a cylinder, but instead of a cylinder, you have a cylinder and a cone, all right? So you guys go ahead and get to work.
Well, this one.
You have a triangular pyramid and a triangular prism. All right? You guys have a cube and a rectangular prism. All right? So go ahead, discuss with each other the similarities and differences in those solids.
That one only has one base, okay. Two bases. It can be flipped on this one. That one only has one base, okay.
So it looks like a lot of you have found something that's the same and different, okay? As you're doing that, we're going to see how good your sense of touch is, all right? So, I know that I had you write down some things on the paper for me, right?
Yes.
So cylinder, sphere, cube. All right, so we're going to have you go first. By putting your hand in there without looking, I want you to pull out a cube. So we're going to see if you guys can, based on what you know about a cube right now, use your other sense of touch to see if you can. Ah, nicely done. He found the cube. Is he correct?
Yes.
All right, back in there with it, young man. All right. How about a sphere? Is she correct?
Yes.
What were you thinking of, or what were you trying to feel when you were in the bag?
Something round and no like points.
No points and definite sides, right? So that's one thing. Okay, very good. All right, let's go with a cone. See if you can find a cone. What were you thinking of while you were? What were you?
Finding
your
a
head.
flat bottom and the top point.
Okay. Go ahead, put that back in there. How about a square pyramid? That was pretty quick. What were you thinking of? What were you trying to focus on?
I was trying to find the 4 sides and the flat bottom with the point.
Okay. How about a cube? So what are you trying to think of right now as you're going through this?
I'm trying to see if I could find 4 sides, 4 flat sides.
Okay. You able to find that yet in there? There you go. Nicely done. Cube. All right. Let's see if there's anything on here we haven't found.
Cylinder.
Yeah, pull out that cylinder. What were you thinking of?
Something smooth with 2 bases.
Okay. Pick a number between 1 and 5.
3.
1, 2, 3. Cube. Find the cube. You guys are getting too good at this. All right, put that back in there. All right, Hotshot, you get the last one. Pick a number 1 to 5. Not 3.
4.
4, the cone. Find the cone. You guys are masters of this. Excellent work, 4th and 5th grade students at Highland Elementary. Thanks again to the students over at Highland Elementary. You think you could reach into a bag and pick out a certain shape based on different properties of it?
Yes.
Maybe we'll get those in here. We'll test these kids on that. Anyway, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon, but we do have another opportunity to go learn a little bit more at the kitchen.
That's right, we are back at the kitchen. Excited to know what kind of tools we use here, excited to know a little bit more about what happens here. So Richard, tell us a little bit about the tools. This is maybe the tool wall, right? What kind of
Yes.
things are you using here in your kitchen?
Well, I definitely use these measuring spoons.
Aha, a little math, if I had to guess.
Yes, definitely these rolling pins. Some of it is decorative. This is a chocolate mold.
Ah, there you go.
I
Okay.
definitely use these peelers. And definitely have different tools over here. Absolutely, definitely need a stove in my oven
Right.
and my griddle.
So we have all kinds of tools to make whatever we want. When a group comes in here, or even an individual comes in here for the first time, what is the first time that they see math? Because you know they're going to have to use some math. They're going to have to follow a recipe, right? They're going to have to use some measurements. What's maybe the first time that they see that when they walk in here?
The first time they see math is actually with holding a knife.
Okay, tell us about that.
Let me show you.
Yeah.
So basically, to hold a knife properly, if you look at a knife like this and you see the handle, it pretty much fits the size of an adult hand.
Right.
However, if you hold a knife like this, and I'll grab a cutting board real quick. It's not stable.
Right. Yeah.
Some people put their index finger on the top, thinking if I point at my food, I'll be more precise. This is equally unstable.
Okay.
And so right there's a divot. Actually, your middle finger goes there. Your thumb goes there. Your index finger goes there. You're basically pinching the knife with the blade,
Right.
if you will, and a 3-finger grip on the handle, exposing that much of the handle. And if you notice, there's metal that goes all the way to the heel of the handle.
Yeah.
That is to counterbalance the weight of the blade. That's the center of balance right
Yeah,
there.
we have a center of balance there, and you want that tool balanced while you're doing
Exactly.
your work.
And so you hold it exactly where the center of balance is. And so when you chop, that additional weight will help you chop. Also hold it like this, and it's very stable,
Sure.
very rigid.
And of
so-
all things you want stable in a kitchen,
Exactly.
it's going to be the stove and the knife, right?
This is absolutely the safest way to hold a knife. It feels awkward initially, but this is the safest way, the most effective, and the most stable way to hold a knife. Also, it's also similar to that of holding a bat when you're playing baseball or softball.
Okay.
You choke up on the bat to increase your bat speed, to increase your rotational inertia.
Right.
And so same thing with a knife. You chop it like this, it's wobbly and all over the place and not very efficient.
Sure.
Hold it right here. It's a lot more efficient.
Yeah, you have a lot more control over what you do there. So
Yes.
not only is it a safety thing, right? Because
Yes.
you have more control over your tool, but it's more efficient with the task that you're trying to perform.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow, okay. So some math there, going into, first of all, I was thinking about the engineering that goes into that knife to
Yes.
make sure that center of balance is right where someone can grab it, right? But then, of course, you're gonna have all kinds of recipes for 4 people.
Oh, yes.
Recipes for 100 people. There's all kinds of math that goes on in there. So what if you have a really small recipe and you wanna make that amount of food or that kind of food for a group of 50 people? What do you do with that kind of recipe?
Well, that's where the math kicks
There
in.
we go, good.
For example, say if I have to make a batch of chocolate chip cookies,
Yeah.
if you will. And a lot of times, the yield will be, generally if you look at a recipe from a book or on the internet, you'll yield maybe 2 dozen cookies.
Right.
So it's about 24 cookies or so. And say you need, to cater a party, or you're baking cookies for a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And you'd have to multiply.
Right.
But you can't just multiply.
Okay.
You have to know what each unit of measure is,
Right.
and how, when you increase it, how can you make it convenient at the same time? Say it calls for 1 teaspoon of salt, and you have to make 300 cookies.
Yeah.
And you have to multiply the recipe by, say you have to multiply a recipe by 20.
Okay.
You're not going to
Just
sit
making a
there.
really big mash.
Yeah, you're not just going to sit there and 20 teaspoons.
Right.
You have to know how many teaspoons are in a cup. You have to know how many cups are in a quart, how many quarts are in a gallon.
Yeah, and these are all measurements I know that I tell my math students. look, it's not my fault. I didn't make up all these numbers. I'm sorry you got to memorize them all. The metric system is a lot more convenient, but these are the numbers that we use here in the United States, and we have to know that there are certain ounces, certain amount of ounces in a cup and certain amount of cups in a pint, and the ounces that we use in those measurements of liquid are different than the ounces we use for weight, right?
It is different. The water is the only thing that's the constant in regards to converting from volume to weight.
Okay.
But everything else, it is a variable.
Right.
And also, when I first got into this business, I worked for a French chef, so all his recipes were metric. So I had to convert from metric to American, and also if he finds a recipe that he also found American pastries to be interesting as well, so he'd find a recipe and he wanted to convert it back to metric. So I'd have to oscillate back and forth. And so I would have to know there are 454 grams in a pound. I would have to know that there are 2.2 pounds in a kilo. And aside, so that's the conversion of that, or 28.35 grams in an ounce. So I have to have those memorized so that I can quickly convert one to the other.
And be able to use them
yes.
quickly. And if you jack it up, boy, you have a lot of food that could go to waste. Or, yeah, complete mess, no doubt.
Absolutely. And also just within the American standard to know there are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. There are 16 tablespoons in a cup. Therefore, 16 times 3, there are 48 teaspoons in a cup.
Man, I love it. This is good stuff. I love it. Oh, man. We want to learn a little bit more about what goes on here and, of course, how the heck a young person could get involved. We also know that there's some important math to do in the studio, so we'll head back there, but don't go away because the kitchen is not closed.
Well, it's always nice to hear that the kitchen is not closed, right? And April and I were just looking at that, as Gonzalo was as well, and the proper way to actually hold the knife and keep it stable and safer when you're actually using a knife. So
Learned something new today.
that's right. You ready to do some more work?
Yeah.
All right, over to the board, young man. So Gonzalo, we've got a problem up there, and what we'd like you to do is, first of all, tell us anything you can about the order of operations.
Well, PEMDAS is P parentheses E exponents M multiply D divide A add S subtract. But multiply and divide you do from left to right. Add and subtract you do from left to right.
Sounds like you know the process in order to follow an order of operations, but you said P is for parentheses, and when I look at this problem, I see a lot of parentheses, so where should we start?
We have to start inside of the parentheses, or inside the bracket, which is
Okay.
a different type of parentheses.
There you go. Nice.
So we have to do this problem first.
Okay, so, because this is 2 things inside of
Yes.
parentheses, inside the brackets. Okay, so how are we going to simplify?
So we have to add
10 plus negative
plus
7.
negative 7, which is 3 times negative 3.
So I see that you noticed that was times, and it's a dot, so you still know that. That's nice. Are we going to put the brackets back?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it important to put the brackets back there?
Because then you know you have to do this still.
And
There's an exponent.
there's an exponent. So we still have something to do inside the brackets, and it has an exponent, so that's important. Okay.
So now we have to finish the bracket, which is negative 3 times 3.
So we're going to multiply negative 3 times 3, negative 9,
And it has an exponent.
and we have to still square that.
Yes, and plus 3.
And I noticed that you changed the brackets to parentheses, but that's okay because they're all grouping symbols, and it has the same function, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I have negative 9 squared plus 3 minus negative 9 squared.
Yes.
So where should we go from
So
here?
Now we have to do
So
exponents.
okay, so that's handled pretty much all of the parentheses because these parentheses and these brackets here have 2 operations to do, but there's not 2 operations, so this is just holding that negative 9, right? So now we have to apply the exponent. So I have negative 9 squared.
Negative 9 times negative 9 is going to be positive 81.
Okay.
Plus 3. And then we do this one.
Minus.
Positive 81.
Okay, because this again is negative 9
Yes.
squared, which is, okay.
So now we have to multiply and divide, but there's no multiplication or division.
Wait, hold on. Let me step back and look at this. Did I write?
So it's a divided by,
It should be divided by 3, huh?
right, instead of the +3 at the top,
Yeah.
it's a divided by 3. But you know what? Let's leave it as it is, because we can still solve it.
Yes, we can.
So then we have to multiply, add or subtract from left to right. So 81 plus 3 is 84 minus,
So we're adding and subtracting left to right. Okay.
and then 84 minus 81 is 3.
There you go.
That's very good.
Nicely done. All right,
You
for
made
your
it
great
through all
work
of
on
those
that.
parentheses.
You've got
Thank
yourself
you.
a meal courtesy of our friends at Broken Yoke. So congratulations on that. You ever been to Broken Yoke?
Yes.
You like that over there? Yeah. You go there for breakfast or lunch?
Breakfast.
You go for breakfast? Oh, so do I. I'll tell you, I went over there one time. Old man got a belly full of breakfast over there. That was good stuff. Tell us now, because you recently went to Camp Keep,
Yes.
and you said that you like the food. All the kids like the food.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about the sand dunes. What else is another thing that you would like to tell other kids that haven't been there, what kind of to expect? Or what was another one of your favorite hikes that you guys went on?
Well, there is actually, we have evening program, which is we do something different before campfire. And the second night we had a night hike. And
Oh, a night hike.
We went up to a clearing, and they showed us constellations in the sky because it's clear and you could see the stars.
So how did you see where you were going on a night hike?
She actually said that you had to let your eyes adjust to the darkness.
So no flashlights?
No.
Nice.
Do you remember some of the constellations?
They showed us Sirius, which was a dog.
All right.
Then they showed us the Big Dipper, but then they showed us how it was a bear. And then we saw Leo the lion.
So there were a lot of things you were able to check out on the night hike, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? A lot of students have an opportunity to go to Camp Keep. Here's a little bit more about Camp Keep.
That is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
For the past 50 years, a visit to the Kern Environmental Education Program, or Camp Keep, has marked the signature field trip during the final year of elementary school in Kern County. It has become a rite of passage for so many students in our community. In fact, it's estimated that approximately 250,000 youngsters have benefited from the program over the years. At Keep, the classrooms have no walls, and instead of bookwork, students get plenty of footwork, exploring the world around them. Keep's first director, George Houghton, explained in an interview with the Bakersfield Californian in April 1969.
The program revolves around 3 main concepts: the land, the life, and the people. These concepts will be studied through field trips and by first-hand observations and the use of the environment as a laboratory.
Bruce Crawford, then Assistant Superintendent of Education Services at the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, was the brainchild of Keep. In 1968, he shared his vision with County Superintendent of Schools Harry Blair that every local school child should have access to outdoor education opportunities. After much research and Superintendent Blair's blessing, Keep held its first session in 2 locations in April of 1969. One site was at Camp Condor near Pine Mountain Club. The other was at Tehachapi Mountain Park. In the spring of 1971, Keep was consolidated onto a 10-acre plot on Keene Ranch in the foothills east of Bakersfield. Dignitaries gathered to officially dedicate the campus as the Bruce M. Crawford Outdoor School. In an article published in the Bakersfield Californian, Crawford explained that a novel feature of Keep was that it was designed with mobility in mind.
The secret to our ability to move the school to an area that is understudy is that its support facilities are on wheels. When we move, depending on the season or the subject's demands, we simply pull mobile units to a new site.
True to its transient nature, in fall 1971, Keep was relocated yet again to the Central Coast, where it became Keep Ocean. A temporary site was operated at Hazard Canyon within the Montana de Oro State Park before moving to its permanent home in spring of 1972. Keep Ocean operates in the same location to this day. As the popularity of the program grew, so too did the need for additional space. In 1987, a second campus was established in the Sierra foothills near Glenville. The camp was operated on the grounds of YMCA Camp Dixon, which KCSOS purchased in 1990 and officially renamed it Keep Sierra. A third campus, Keep Cambria, was added in 1992 through a partnership with the Bakersfield City School District. Because California's Central Coast was a more popular destination for local schools, Keep Sierra was closed in 2003 and programs were condensed to the two coastal campuses. In August 2018, Keep was on the move again, as Keep Cambria was relocated south to Arroyo Grande and became Keep by the Sea.
Kids want to play, they want to explore, they want to be active, they want to run around and jump, and that's what we do. We give them that opportunity in a very educational way to do the things they want to do to learn.
It's a crab. What is it?
Oh, that's a crab.
Yeah? It's hot. It smells weird. It's a rock.
By doing this, by experiencing things, that's what triggers these questions like why or how come or reminds me of and things like that. In our mind, that's the beginning of science.
Outside of the science education that students receive during their stay, the experience has lasting social benefits as well. Students, teachers, and counselors share the enriching experience of living in cabins together, eating community meals, learning on the trails, playing science games by starlight, singing songs around the campfire, and falling asleep to the sounds of nature. For many students, it is the first time they are away from their parents for an extended period. For others, visiting Keep is the first time they have the opportunity to see the ocean, hold a snake, or climb to the top of a mountain.
It's a week away from school, but you're still learning stuff, and you're learning it really fun.
The tide pulls animals, like these little fish that's less than an inch. They're very hard to find.
And then mud flats, I just like the creatures inside and stuff. When you dig and it's the mud, and I like it.
Because once you think about it, you're looking at the largest ocean in the world, and like nature is beautiful.
Countless friendships and memories have been made over the years at Keep. It's truly one of the jewels of Kern County education programs. To learn more about Camp Keep and its rich 50-year history, visit campkeep.org/50 years.
And there you go, for those of you that have not yet had an opportunity to go to Camp Keep. That's kind of what you'll be getting into when you're in 6th grade. Gonzalo, lifelong memories you made last week when you were over there.
Yes.
You ready to do some more math?
Sure.
All right, one more problem. Here we go. Another order of
After
operations.
you,
So we
sir.
know you understand the order of operations.
Yeah.
So help guide April through how to solve this particular one.
So again, we have to go from inside the brackets to the parentheses.
Okay.
So we have to do 6 minus 9.
6 minus 9
which
is?
-3.
-3.
Times 2. Then put the bracket.
Okay, times 2 squared. Keep the brackets because we have 2 operations.
Plus.
Divided by 3 plus
4 squared.
-4 squared. And so where are we?
And then we have to do what's inside the brackets.
Inside the grouping
but
symbol,
we
those
have
brackets.
to do these exponents first.
Okay.
Which
Take care of the
comes
exponents.
to 4 times -3.
So 2 squared is -4. Or I'm sorry, 2 squared is 4 times -3.
Yes.
And then we're going to rewrite the rest divided by 3 plus -4 squared. So you told me that I had to do exponents after the grouping symbol, but you did that one there.
Because it was inside of the parentheses, which was in my
So you still continue the order inside. Yes. Okay, go ahead. Because we still have a grouping symbol.
Yes.
And what are we doing in there?
It's 4 times -3.
Okay.
So positive times negative.
Positive times a negative.
And it's -12.
So 4 times -3 is -12. We're going to divide that by 3. Got rid of that grouping symbol. Times -4 squared.
Now we have to do the exponents.
Okay.
Which should be
So we'll rewrite everything else so we can take care of that exponent.
Plus
-4 squared is
16.
So that's -4 times -4, which gives us 16.
So
now
we have to multiply and divide from left to right.
Multiply and divide from left to right.
So -12 divided by 3 is -4.
-4.
Plus 16.
So -12 divided by 3 is -4. We're going to add 16 to that, and -4 plus 16 is?
16 is, wait,
Positive?
12.
12. So how'd you get 12?
Because from this, if you were to use a number line, you'd be 4 opposite, and then you'd have to add
4 to the left of
16.
0?
Yes, and then that'd be subtracting from 16, which would leave 12, and you add all that to the rest.
That makes sense. So I'm going to take 4 steps to 0 and then 12 more, and that's how I end up at 12. And that's a total of 16 steps. Yes?
All right, nicely done. Clear the board. I've got a little bonus problem for you guys.
Here we are.
It's not exactly a lengthy problem you need to do. April, what I'd like you to do is put up on the board -9 squared.
I was thinking of this.
And
the
now
entire
put in
time.
parentheses -9.
Okay.
And put the exponent outside the parentheses. Gonzalo, go over there and do you know the difference between those two? And if not, April's there to help guide you through that.
So you leave the sign alone because it's not inside parentheses, so it's just
what am I
9 squared.
squaring on the
Just
left
9.
here? I'm squaring 9.
Yes. So
Because the parentheses holds
Yes.
the negative inside? Okay,
So this would just be -81.
So this says, what is the opposite of 9 squared?
Yes.
And I know 9 squared is 81. And what's the opposite of 81?
-81.
There you go. And this,
Since these are in parentheses, you do -9 times -9.
Okay.
Which is positive 81.
so since the -9 is in parentheses, it's enclosed,
Yes.
I'm multiplying -9 times -9. Negative times negative gives me a positive 81. Here, the negative is not enclosed, so I'm multiplying regular 9, or positive 9, times 9, and I have to take the opposite because that's what that symbol means.
There you go.
Nice
Perfectly
job.
done right there. That's why I wanted you to go through that. And we do have one more opportunity to head on out to the kitchen and see how they're doing next.
One more time, math in the real world, back at the kitchen. We want to know a little bit more, and I'm sure you want to know a little bit more about how the heck could you do something like this? This is such a neat deal. Richard, tell us, first of all, about your background, just a little bit. How did you get interested in cooking? Like, where did that passion come from?
Oh, I always enjoyed, as a kid growing up, I enjoyed filling around in the kitchen. But it wasn't not necessarily my initial career choice.
Okay.
I actually went to college to study I wanted to be a history professor.
All right.
And so when at some given point, I realized, I think I have a different passion. And so I realized it was cooking. And so I did some homework in regards to what this industry entails. And I felt, okay, I think I can give this a shot. And then I went to culinary school after college and then started working in different restaurants in Los Angeles.
Wow, and it takes a lot of work to learn to do what you do. I mean, everyone eats food, right? We all eat food, but to make food well takes a lot of work.
And that will be the sustainability of this industry.
Okay.
Is because there's certain things of this industry that cannot be automated. There lately have been restaurants, I believe there's a burger place in San Francisco perhaps that I think they have completely automated the whole thing. However, you still need someone to program it. You need someone to be able to know how much seasoning to add to it, how long to cook it. There still has to be a human behind
And be
it.
able to fix it when it breaks it down,
Exactly.
right?
But at the same time, for the most part, people, the future of this industry, are people are seeking new flavors, new experiences, not just the experience of eating, but interactive experience. And that's what also we provide here at the kitchen, because people are in events where the participants aren't cooking, they're observing.
Right.
And so it's still interactive. They're seeing the process.
Sure, and interacting with people and also interacting with the food.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's an important two pieces that don't always happen when you have just to sit down to a regular meal, right? So what if a young person wants to get involved in something like this? Like, what would you suggest that they study or research or ask questions about? Where do they start?
Well, first, everyone has to they do have to realize there is math involved.
Yes, there is.
So
All
there's
right.
unavoidable. Math is unavoidable in this industry, whether it's converting recipes, setting menu prices. Math is essential because you have to know how much you purchased your ingredients for in order to mark up, so you'll be able to make a profit.
Got to make money, otherwise it doesn't work.
You can enjoy and love cooking all you want, but ultimately it is still a business. Right. So you have to know your profit margins. You have to know if I buy a piece of meat at $6.99 a pound, and then each portion is say 4 to 6 ounces, and I would have to know how much that portion costs.
Right.
And to mark up appropriately so that ultimately the guest will look at the price and go, okay, there's value there.
Right.
There's fair value between what I want to eat and the price of this menu item. And then from there, you get whatever's the profit is what I'm going to use to keep the lights on and my people paid and for me to pay my rent.
There you go, and keep the food rolling in, exactly. We are so grateful that you let us join you today, because I know I learned a lot. I mean, I don't think about my food all the time, but I think I'll maybe take a little bit second look now at the food that I eat and maybe how it's prepared, maybe even do a little cooking on my own. We want to make sure we leave you with our Do the Math tile, so maybe somewhere in the kitchen this can go and remind everyone that comes in there's some math to be done when they get to the kitchen, right? Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate that.
Thank
This
you
is
very
yours.
much. Thank you.
We also know there's more math to do back in the studio, but gosh, what a great visit here at the kitchen. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thanks for that, Scott, and also thank you to Richard and the kitchen for helping us out. Thanks also to Gonzalo for coming in this afternoon, 6th grade student from Whitley Elementary. Did you have fun today?
Yes.
You learn a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's the key. And until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.